Today's video is 1 year versus 10 years of my fashion and how it's evolved while living in Japan. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about first before I get into the topic. So the first thing is I want to describe my living experience. I think that there's a huge difference between countryside style and Tokyo style. I think Tokyo in Shinjuku, there's like 20% of the residents are foreigners. So there's a lot of international influence in fashion when you're in Tokyo. If you walk down Omotesando, Harajuku, Shibuya, you're gonna see a lot of different types of fashion, and it's not all Japanese. It's a lot of like people that are international who live in Japan. They have their own fashion sense. You can see like a lot of Korean fashion, you can see street fashion, you can see gyaru, you can see high fashion, you can basically see everything. It's like when I never been to New York, but I'm assuming it's like if you walk down the streets of New York, you're gonna see a lot of different kinds of fashion. So when I first moved here, I did not live in the center of Tokyo now that I do. My fashion is completely different because I feel more open. I feel more able to express myself. When I first moved here, I lived more in the suburbs, and in the suburbs, in the countryside, in places where people move to have children, people are not really focused on fashion and they dress very conservative, and usually they wear a lot of neutral colors. They wear baggy clothes, baggy slacks, long skirts, long dresses. They wear baseball caps. Like, it's very basic. It's not what people think. There's still going to be a lot of girls who dress nice though. A lot of young women care about fashion no matter where they live because they don't really have a choice to where they live. So you're going to see like a lot of teenage girls still caring about fashion even in the countryside. But if you compare like a middle-aged woman in the countryside versus like a middle-aged woman in Tokyo, like they're going to be really different. So that's just like a generalization. I know it's not true for everyone, but this is kind of like the difference, because a lot of foreign people have this expectation that all of Japan is like Tokyo, but it's like Tokyo is completely different than all of Japan. There's not Japan is not Tokyo, but Tokyo is like what everyone sees. So I'm going to be talking about my experience in Tokyo. I'm not going to go through all of the different cycles of fashion that I went through because it's just too many. Like, I had so many phases in 10 years. I just can't. It's going to be like over an hour video if I do that. So I'm just going to talk about specific pieces. And also, I don't have a lot of pictures of my first year in Japan because I didn't care about fashion. I mean, I did care about fashion. I just didn't care about it on me. Like, I studied a lot of fashion stuff. I know a lot about like the different decades of fashion. I wanted to be a fashion designer when I was little, so I kind of know a lot. I didn't care about how I looked, if that makes sense. So the first year I was just wearing a lot of t-shirt and jeans, and I didn't want people to assume that I moved to Japan because I liked anime, and I was trying really hard to come off as a normal American person. So I would just wear t-shirts and jeans all the time. So at first, I think the first couple of years I did do a lot of thrift shopping. And when I started doing modeling is when I think I started changing, because I was influenced a lot by my friends who are models. A lot of them they looked like models. Like, they had the off-duty model look, which is like the sleek it girl look with just like very basic pieces but well put together. Kind of, I guess the equivalent would be like a Zara catalog look. But at the time I was thinking like I wanted really hard for people to think I was a model because I was modeling. So I tried really hard to like look the part, and I still didn't take a lot of pictures of myself during this time. I had really low self-esteem during this time, and I thought I just didn't like my body. I didn't like the way I looked. So most of the time when I was wearing clothes was to kind of camouflage or to basically try to make my body look as small as possible. So I would wear clothes that I considered flattering because they hide things. And I didn't really have like my own personal style really. And one day in school, I was on my way to school and I actually had something really bad happen to me. I used to, in America, I would wear a lot of jeans and t-shirts because I grew up with this instilled in me. I know it's wrong, and I know like victims shouldn't be blamed for what they wear. Like we should be able to live in a society where you can wear whatever you want and no one's gonna assault you. But I was afraid of that happening, and I I would always wear clothes that wouldn't draw attention to me. So I'd wear like baggy shirts and jeans because I thought like I'm not gonna get targeted if I don't look like a target. And that's something that I grew up thinking. Obviously, like you shouldn't blame victims for what they wear. Like that's not okay. But that's how I was raised to act. So I had the same mentality basically in Japan. I didn't want to stand out, so I wore a lot of like conservative clothes, like long skirts, cardigan, baggy jackets. Like I didn't want attention. And this I think this morning, when I was going to school, I was assaulted, and it was so traumatic for me. And actually it changed a lot of my perception because I was supposed to be the last person that I thought would get targeted, but I wasn't. I was getting targeted a lot because I was dressed conservatively, and it wasn't, I don't want to say it's because of, so it's not my fault. I know it's not my fault. It's just that people who target people, they look for specific things when they're targeting someone. And I think that whatever it was, I had what they wanted to target at the time. And looking like you're not going to put up a fight, looking like you're looking like you're timid and you're not confident, I think was the factor that caused me to get targeted a lot. And being skinny, and because I was a model at the time, I was really thin. I think that this changed me a lot. I started going to the gym and lifting weights, and I became a gym girl. So I had like this gym girl phase where I wanted to be stronger and sexy, and I started wearing mostly only gym clothes. It changed me dramatically, and during this time, I think I was the most confident, and I would get a lot of negative stares from men during this time because I would wear like yoga pants outside. Like you're not supposed to wear yoga pants outside. People would roll their eyes at me, or they would just look disgusted because Japan is a conservative country. You're not supposed to be a woman who dresses sexy on purpose and is trying to look sexy on purpose. So I got a lot of like nasty stares, but I felt really confident during this time. And I don't think I had much of a Japanese influence because gym culture in Japan is still kind of new. A lot of Japanese people who are really into fitness are heavily influenced by foreign culture, so they also like to dress the way foreigners dress. They follow a lot of like fitness influencers, and they wear like a lot of gym clothes. There's like a lot of new like gym wear brands in Japan, and it's mostly the style of clothes that people in America wear. I didn't really start dressing the way I do now until maybe it's almost going to be a year now. But right before I lost my job, I had like this really big awakening in me where I was like, I'm just going to dress how I really want to dress. And I was really heavily influenced by cyberpunk fashion. I really liked the futuristic look, and I wanted to wear more of these pieces. So I dyed my hair pink, and I thinking like I could do like fashion content. I can dress the way I want because I finally like the way my body looks, and I don't feel bad about the way I look anymore. So I was like really confident during this time, and I was wearing what I wanted to wear. And I think a lot of it was still, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like influenced a lot by Japan. I think it's more influenced by like video games. But now, this year, I think is when I started wearing more clothes that is inspired by Japan. Because back then also I was just experimenting. Like I was just starting to get into fashion for myself. So I was putting a lot of different subcultures together, and I think I'm still doing that now. One of the things that really stopped me from trying to wear Japanese style like subculture clothes is actually just being afraid of judgment. I think this is what stops a lot of people from doing it. Like I said in the beginning, I wanted to be normal, and I didn't want people to judge me as like a weird anime weeb. So I didn't want to wear the clothes that I thought was cute. But actually, like a lot of Japanese people don't care, and they like when foreign people like Japanese culture. It doesn't matter if it's like anime or if it's like traditional culture, music, movies, whatever. Like if you like something about Japan, they're happy that you like it. So I remember recently, a couple of months ago, I went to the Sanrio land with my friends, and I was wearing a maid outfit, and it was my melody themed. And a lot of Japanese girls at that place were saying that our outfits were cute. It wasn't until like I went on the train back home that I saw like a couple. It was like this old man and woman, and they actually were dressed really badly. Like I don't know why they were judging me. They looked like they haven't taken a shower in days, and I think they were traveling. But this woman, like she wasn't hiding her disgust. Like she was like really frowning at me and shaking her head like really big, and like she wouldn't stop. Like I was like really far away from her, and I was like walking past her, and she was just like doing this for a long time. And it made me really mad because every time that I've had like a negative experience where someone doesn't like what I'm wearing when I'm wearing like this alternative fashion is usually a foreign person, and they're usually a tourist. And I don't know why they're so rude. Like Japan is one of the places where people like to express themselves in fashion. A lot of this fashion is inspired by Japanese culture, and you're gonna see a lot of it if you come to Tokyo. So if you're those people that like just doesn't like fashion, then don't go to the fashion places. Like I've had these bad experiences also in like Harajuku and Omotesando, like walking in these areas. These are fashion areas. If you don't want to see fashion, like Japanese subculture fashion, then don't go there because that's what is there. And I think a lot of people are fed up with like the rude tourist. I went to a green party like a couple of months ago, and it was basically this, like everyone was dressed up to go and do this thing, and these tourists were like touching, like I was with the group, and this girl, they were touching her, and they were like, can we take a picture? And I was so disgusted, like why are you touching this girl? These like, I think they were Italian tourists, and they were saying no, you can't take a picture, but they wouldn't stop asking. It was so uncomfortable. So I'm just this is just something that you have to deal with, unfortunately, if you want to dress the way you want to dress. But I think it's not like a huge drawback. I think my mom told me when I was younger, like you can dress however you want to dress, but you just have to be prepared that people are going to treat you a certain way. Fashion is also like a great way to make friends, because I think I've met a lot of fashionable people who like the same things I like, and we were drawn to each other because of the things that we wear. It's also like a great way to get away from toxic people. I think in the past I would have been really embarrassed to wear what I want to wear because I was thinking like my partner thinks this is ugly, or they don't like what I'm wearing, or they think it's embarrassing to go out with someone with pink hair. But if you have that thought, if like my boyfriend thinks that pink hair is gross and he doesn't think it's attractive, but I really want pink hair, like you should just break up with that person, because that person is like stopping you from being the person you want to be. Those are just like some thoughts that I have about it. I guess something else is like in Tokyo, there's like a lot of small labels, like small companies, fashion houses. I don't know what they're called. They're little independent designers, and their clothes is like mid-range prices, so you can pay like $100 for like a dress. And I feel like this doesn't really exist in America because a lot of Americans, they're either like really poor or like really rich. So like you either wear fast fashion like H&M or Shein, or you are buying clothes from like Gucci and Chanel. I haven't really seen like a lot of people, because I said this earlier in one of my videos, but like I said some Americans can afford like $100 for a dress, and a lot of people are like, no, that's like a lot of money. I think people are not used to the mid-range fashion brands, and that's very common in Japan. And I don't know, honestly don't know why it's so normal in Tokyo, but a lot of the fashion brands in in Shibuya and Harajuku are made for young people. They're made for people in their early 20s or even teenagers. And these things cost like $100 a piece, and they can afford to buy these things. I think there's like more disposable income in Tokyo, because I do see like a lot of teenagers walking around with like designer things, and I think they're gifts given to them by their friends. I think people here just spend more money on their clothes and their fashion. I think it's more normal here. I do have some pieces that I bought secondhand from like that are more expensive. Like this piece here, I think it was like $60 or $70. And I think people here spend more money on clothes because they don't have a lot of room, so they're not going to buy a bunch of stuff. They're just going to have like some pieces, and they're just going to make a bunch of outfits with one piece. I think maybe those are the biggest differences I noticed, is like I'm more willing to spend more money on something if it's like nice and styled and unique, versus like something cheap that doesn't really look good, because I'm gonna keep it for a while. I'm not gonna be buying a bunch of stuff. And then also I feel more free to dress how I want to dress. I don't really feel like I have the pressure of conforming. Conforming is for people that work in a corporate job. A lot of people work in corporate jobs, but I have a lot of friends. I think the conformity applies mostly to Japanese people, because I do have friends who are in really high positions, but they dress however they want outside of work, and they have tattoos, and they seem not really pressured to be very Japanese. I think it's only applies to when they're working. So that is like the biggest difference now. I think also the elephant in the room is probably my weight gain, because I do know that people do Google why I gained weight, or just my weight gain in general. It has been hard, even though I feel very confident and I feel comfortable in my skin. It is harder to find clothes that fits me now. Like this is a large and it does not fit me well. It's kind of going up a little bit, but large clothes doesn't fit me in Japan. And most sizes, most shops, they go only up to L, if they do. Most places just have like free size. If they have L, it does not fit me, so I have to shop in places that are made for bigger people, and even then it's like too big for me. I'm like mid-size or something. It's like between plus size and standard sizing. But I've tried to buy clothes from shops that are made for bigger people, and it's too big for me, and clothes from standard shops are too small for me. So I'm like in this space where like nothing really fits me well, and it sucks because there's like a lot of things that I want to try. There's like a lot of fashion, like I go to stores and I'm like, ooh, this is really pretty, I want to wear this, and it doesn't fit me. And I think this is another thing that people have to take into consideration when living in Japan. if you're really into fashion and you're bigger, you're gonna have a really hard time finding things in Japan that fit you. Especially, I think shoes are a big problem for a lot of women. They don't really have anything bigger than a size 7 usually. I'm a size 7, so sometimes shoes they have S, M, and L, and I fit into the L size or M size sometimes, depending on the brand. But they don't make anything bigger than that. That is kind of hard for people. Yeah, Japan is like a great place for people that are into fashion. I think there's so many different kinds of fashion. There's so many like subcategories, subcultures of fashion in Tokyo. I think it's a really great place. It's a really creative place. Like, you meet a lot of creative people here. So yeah, I think embrace it. If you want to dress like an anime character, if you want to wear cute stuff, if you think you're too old for cute stuff, just embrace it, because Japan is a culture that embraces cute things and there is no age limit to cute stuff. So just embrace it. If you feel cringe, embrace it. It's part of you. Just accept that you're cringe and move on, and nobody cares. The biggest thing is like, nobody cares. And yeah, you might run into like a few rude tourists, but that's about it, I think. So that is it for this video. If you have any questions about my fashion, I will try to answer them in the comments below. That is it for today. I will see you girls later.